I've owned and used the Smart Keyboard Folio case for the iPad Pro for 3 years, and in this video I want to explain why I think it's the worst product that Apple sells. I want to preface this video by saying I am actually a really big fan of Apple's products generally, and I use my Mac Mini and iPad Pro on a daily basis. But there are two main reasons why I think the Smart Keyboard Folio just isn't that good, and we'll come back to those. But first I want to explain my original thinking behind buying this to use on my iPad in the first place. So back in April 2020, the pandemic had just hit and I had just secured a new job. So I thought, Arran, treat yourself.
Massages.
Treat yourself.
Mimosas.
Treat yourself.
11-inch iPad Pro.
Treat yourself.
I'd always wanted an iPad, but as many of you probably will agree, the iPad is more of a want product than a need product, at least for most people. So I always found it a difficult purchase to justify. But at this point in time, it was lockdown and there wasn't much to look forward to, so I thought, f it, and decided to pick up a brand new second generation 11-inch iPad Pro. However, I knew that in order to use the iPad for practical things like answering emails, writing YouTube scripts, and jotting down ideas, I'd need a good keyboard case. At the time, Apple had just released their Magic Keyboard for the iPad Pro, but that was £300, and I ain't paying that much. I also wanted something that didn't make the iPad too bulky because I wanted to use it for traveling. That's why I settled on the Smart Keyboard Folio. It was a bit more money than I originally wanted to spend, but it was super slim, and it was made by Apple, so I thought it would be really good quality and would last for years to come. It turns out I was wrong about this product, and I wanted to make a video to manage expectations for anyone who's thinking about buying it. About 3 months into owning the Smart Keyboard Folio, the edges of the keyboard started fraying, and the outer material started coming away from the rest of the case. This was all while I wasn't even taking the iPad anywhere because we were all in lockdown. I wasn't putting my iPad in and out of bags or anything like that, it was just on the side, being picked up, and then put back down once I'd finished with it. So this was kind of unexpected. For context, this case costs just under £200, which is about a quarter of what the current base model 11-inch iPad Pro costs, which is not an insignificant amount of money. I decided to give it a bit longer to see if the issue would worsen, and unfortunately it did. The material started coming away on the back of the keyboard side of the case too, and it basically just looked really ugly. Every time I picked up the iPad, I was just aware of it and it was really annoying. Now bear in mind the Smart Keyboard Folio case did still work as a keyboard. It still typed on the iPad, all that kind of stuff, that was all fine. It was just from an appearance standpoint that it was not looking good. So some of you in this situation might not care, but when I've paid £200 for this case, I want it to be working and look good at the same time. And bear in mind, I've used multiple different Apple products in the past, such as the iPod Mini, the iPod Classic, the iPhone 3G, and multiple different Macs. And one of the things I've come to expect is that you pay a little bit more for Apple products, but one of the things you get in return is excellent build quality. So I'd set a level of expectations for this keyboard. So after 6 months of owning the Smart Keyboard Folio and the outer shell continuing to deteriorate, I decided to contact Apple support and ask to receive a replacement. To their credit, they were super helpful, and once I had sent them the photos to show them the state that the keyboard was in, they arranged a brand new replacement immediately. So I received the new keyboard and I was pretty happy to have an unblemished new case. And in my head I was thinking, okay, maybe I had a faulty one last time, something had slipped through quality control, and this time it'll be fine, and this one will be working okay and it'll look great for the rest of the time I'm using my iPad. But no, it went wrong again. So probably about 5 or 6 months after I got the replacement case, the same thing started happening again. And that leads us to where we are now, where I've got this kind of raggedy ass case that looks a bit rubbish. If this had happened once, I would have passed it off as just being a quality control issue of me receiving a poor version of the product. But as it's happened twice, I think it must be a more widespread issue. And that kind of concludes my first issue with this product, which is that the build quality just isn't up to the standard that most of us have come to expect from Apple. This is compounded by the fact that this costs just under £200, which is mad when you consider the quality issues that I've encountered, and now considering the alternatives that you can get instead. For example, the Logitech Folio Touch case gives you a backlit keyboard, a trackpad, a full row of function keys, completely flexible angle adjustment of the screen, more protection around the edges of the iPad body, and the ability to put the iPad into many different orientations. Plus you get all these features for £30 less than the Smart Keyboard Folio. This just highlights my second reason for thinking the Smart Keyboard Folio is a bad product. It's terrible value. The only real benefit I can see of the Smart Keyboard Folio is that it's slimmer than the other options, but other than that, it doesn't even have Apple's usual better build quality going for it. So it's pretty much impossible to recommend this over the alternatives. I mean, at least with a pretty overpriced product like the AirPods Max, you get really good build quality, really good sound quality, and other premium features that make it stand out from the rest. But this just isn't the case. See what I did there? with the Smart Keyboard Folio. As a note here though, I need to add that the Smart Keyboard Folio does work pretty well as a keyboard for your iPad, but it's difficult to justify that price with all the things that I've talked about in this video. But I'd really love to hear what you think in the comments below, because there's a possibility that I just got really unlucky here. So if you own the Smart Keyboard Folio, have you had the same issues as me? Or maybe you own an alternative, and I'd love to hear your experience with them too. But hopefully I've not riled up the Apple community with this video, because that was not my intention. As a creator who reviews tech, I make it my priority to ensure that you, the lovely people watching this video, are able to make a confident buying decision or avoid a product like I'd recommend in this case. If this video helped you or you just enjoyed it, then please consider hitting that like button down below, as it really helps me out. Otherwise, as always, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'll catch you all in the next video. Cheers.